After a breakup, not one but two breakups in my 20s and early 30s, it was painful. On the other hand, it was not much longer. You have to be careful how much you are loving that person.
You had a failed marriage அப்படின்னு இருக்கும்போது have you ever thought in your life like just move on?
And I was overjoyed when I learned a few months ago that she was remarried.
Wow.
Engaged at 23, married at 24. Realized instantly, ரெண்டாவது நாளே வீட்டுக்கு கொண்டு வந்துட்டாங்க. 2 years in shock. It took her 5 years. So it took me another year and a half before I was open to the idea of looking for love again. Unfortunate reality is, men think that the women are available. And I made that mistake in my youth. கம்யூனிட்டி வெளியில வந்துட்டோம்னா நிறைய பேரோட பேச வேண்டியிருக்கும், பதில் சொல்ல வேண்டியிருக்கும், குடிய வேண்டியிருக்கும். there'll be enough aunties balconyல இருந்து யார் வராங்க, யார் போறாங்க, யாரோட பேசுறாங்க. தானா பண்ணோம்னா எத்தனையோ ஆப் இருக்குங்க. போயிட்டு அலையணும்னா அலையுங்க. இந்த மாதிரி ப்ரொஃபஷனலா, கிளாஸியா, தாட்ஃபுல்லா, டாக்ட்ஃபுல்லா அந்த மாதிரி உதவி வேணும்னா that's what I've been focusing on.
முதுகு வலியா, மூட்டு வலியா, கை கால் நீட்ட மடக்க இயலாமையா, அறுவை சிகிச்சை இல்லா குணம். டாக்டர் ஸ்ரீ வர்மாஸ் PCR மகாராஜா தைலம்.
சம்மர் ஹாலிடேஸ் வந்தாச்சு, நம்ம GT ஹாலிடேஸும் வந்தாச்சு. GT ஹாலிடேஸ், South India's #1 travel brand.
ASAL Vibe and IFT Productions presents MAJAVA London with ASAL KOLAR, happening on April 26th. Tickets link in the description.
You were so helpful for so many other families அப்படின்னு இருந்தாலுமே you had a failed marriage அப்படின்னு இருக்கும்போது ஒரு கட்டத்துக்கு மேலே லைக் ஓகே மூவ் ஆன் அப்படின்ட்டு நீங்கள் ஒரு இடத்துல சொன்னீங்க. லெட்ஸ் ஓகே இது நடந்துருச்சுனால ஓகே அப்படியே விட்டுட்டு அடுத்தபடி நம்ம போகணும் அப்படின்னு இருக்கும்போது have you ever thought in your life like just move on and probably have a second life for yourself?
Why are you assuming that it's not the case now?
Oh, I thought I didn't. You don't have. Sorry.
See my face lighting up?
Yes.
But before that, no. Thank you for bringing this up. I had to ask you to be careful.
No, because this is like one topic like they'll don't go and it is stereotyped and என்னன்னு சொல்றது இது அது ஏதோ தப்புன்னு மாதிரியே நிறைய பேர் வந்து அது ப்ரொஜெக்ட் பண்றாங்கல்ல. லைக் அது ஒரு கட்டத்துக்கு மேல செகண்ட் லைஃப் வந்து நல்லா தான் இருக்குமே, ஹாப்பியா இருக்குமே, அது வந்து யாரும் அதை பத்தி யோசிக்க மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க.
You know what I say? Thank you for bringing up. Wow. I like how you're exploring topics of a lot of help for people, a lot of people. I say put it all on the table. Sari, move on. People thangrangla. Stereotypes சொன்னீங்க. Let's put it on the table. என்ன மாதிரி stereotypes?
As in like ஒன்றும் இல்லை சார். இப்போ ஒரு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் மேரேஜ் ஃபெயில் ஆச்சு அப்படின்னு ஒரு பக்கம் இருந்தாலுமே செகண்ட் மேரேஜ் அப்படின்ட்டு அவங்க போறாங்க. தட் இஸ் தேர் லைஃப். லெட் தெம் கோ. அதை போட்டு நோன்றது அந்த மாதிரிலாம் நிறைய பேர் பண்ணுவாங்கல்ல, அது ஒன்று இருக்கு.
நிறைய பேர்னா அவங்களையா இல்ல மத்தவங்க?
In general, the society itself I'm talking about. Also the relatives, because I think I've always felt the relatives are the biggest enemies in our life, to be very honest. And this one, like if for instance, if it is the second life they have taken abdin modu, if it is the men, they have a different perspective. If it is the women, they have a different perspective.
Wow.
So
wow. Right, let's talk about this.
So yeah.
First thing I'll tell people is if you had say an unsuccessful inning, those work agalana, it's human nature to feel that vacuum.
Okay.
That longing in one's heart. I tell people resist the temptation to fill this gap with something else. Wouldn't they don't jump into looking for someone else to love you. Yeah. And I made that mistake in my youth. I felt so much of a vacuum after a breakup.
So you want to fill that void.
Fill that void. Not healthy. Rebound kuda solla. If you sort of find somebody else, you have to be careful how much you are loving that person for who they are versus on the rebound whatever came your way. Seringla?
Yes.
At least on the awareness irukku. They know the reflection on the rebound. Paathukonga. Do your inner work. Make sure that you address whatever hurt there is and find your peace first. For some people, and see, having known not one but two breakups in my 20s and early 30s, I used to think that, okay, on one hand, it was painful. On the other hand, it was not much longer. Right? Some people have some formulas. It'll take half as much time as a relationship as it takes to get over it. So my marriage, to my ex-wife's credit and my credit, we gave it almost 8 years. Doesn't mean that it takes 4 years to feel ready for finding love again. And I was overjoyed when I learned a few months ago that she was remarried, right?
Oh, okay.
Overjoyed because I felt that, you know, I was the one who was going to be with, I had that promise, that commitment that I would be with her
Okay.
till death do us apart. But okay, there was somebody else who was there in her life, learned through mutual friends. So very happy for her. In my case, I'd say it took me a year and a half. So there was a year-long separation period. Then you go through several months of the formal process. Even though it's mutual consent, we're in a relatively conservative society, so there's no drive-through divorce. US almost like a drive-through divorce nu solluvaanga. But you have to file for a petition for divorce by mutual consent. Adukaprom wait 6 months for a mandated cool-off period. In the hope, even society courts also are set up in a way that they think ஒரு வேளை compromise காக ஒரு வாய்ப்பு இருக்கா, rapprochement க்கு ஒரு வாய்ப்பு இருக்கா. 6 மாசம் திருப்பி வெயிட் பண்ணதுக்கு அப்புறம் திருப்பி வந்துட்டு கேட்டிங்கன்னா, இல்லைங்க ஃபார்மா இருக்கும், முடிவு எடுத்திருக்கோம், இது சரிப்பட்டு வராதுங்க, அப்போ கிராண்ட் பண்ணுவாங்க. I think in Bangalore கொஞ்சம் மாறி இருக்கு. There maybe I have to be careful. There are legal experts. I focus more on bringing people together. So it took me another year and a half before I was open to the idea of looking for love again. And then luck happened. Luck happened, and have known the most loving relationship of my life. Most loving relationship of my life. Kuduthu vechirkenga. At the same time, I tell people that it's complicated. It's not. It's different when one is in one's early 30s or late 20s, or even early 40s and mid to late 30s. When somebody is in their early 50s and somebody is in their mid 40s, right? There are other things in life. There are other people who are involved. It's harder to merge paths, but at the same time, when people come, எனக்கு அவ்வளோ தோணலைங்க that ரொம்ப relatives there'll be enough aunties who have nothing better to do than to put somebody else down.
True.
Right? Balcony இருந்து யார் வராங்க, யார் போறாங்க, யாரோட பேசுறாங்க, even for single people இருக்காங்க.
True, yeah.
Neighborhood watch. The kind takers, they don't have enough excitement in their life. விடுங்க, வெட்டியா இருக்காங்க. But the people who come to me, the families themselves say, every day I'm talking to people. I cannot take names, I will not take names, but I can take general 35-year-old, engaged at 23, married at 24, realized instantly that disaster. ரெண்டாவது நாள்லே வீட்டுக்கு கொண்டு வந்துருக்காங்க. 2 years in shock. 5 years before even, it took her 5 years. So the marriage lasted barely days. 5 வருஷம் எடுத்தது for her to be open to finding a match again.
Oh my God.
இப்போ 5 வருஷமா தேடிட்டு இருக்காங்க, because doing very well professionally. You won't know where she is and anything more about the profile. But families, we are lucky that நம்ம கல்ச்சர்ல families அவ்வளோ இன்வெஸ்டடா இருக்காங்க, அவ்வளோ சப்போர்ட்டிவா இருக்காங்க. சரி, let us help you. Whereas they may not be ready yet. They may be divorced and not ready. They may be single and not ready in early 30s. I don't think எனக்கு அந்த நெகட்டிவிட்டி தோணலைங்க that relatives will be thinking உனக்கு என்ன இன்னொரு கல்யாணம் வேணுமா. எனக்கு அவ்வளோ தோணல. Maybe they put that aside and then they come to me. The concern is what kind of person you find. Even for single people, community வெளியில போனோம்னா, கம்யூனிட்டி வெளியில வந்துட்டோம்னா, நிறைய பேரோட பேச வேண்டியிருக்கும், பதில் சொல்ல வேண்டியிருக்கும், குடிய வேண்டியிருக்கும். That we hear a lot. That's also has to do with how closely involved people are, or how much voice you give to somebody else in your life, to community members in your life. Sometimes boundaries are very important to set, right? Within a family itself, within relationship itself, between husband and wife also. நீங்க எப்படி ஆரம்பிச்சீங்க? Stereotypes இல்ல?
Stereotypes, and also like I mean, of course you told like you took 1.5 years of அந்த பீரியட் அப்படின்னு இருக்கும்போது அதுவுமே வந்து நிறைய பேர் क्वेश्चन பண்ணுவாங்கல்ல, லைக் ஒரு சில பேர் வந்து குட் தட் யூ டுக் 1.5 இயர்ஸ்ல வந்து இது அப்படின்னு அதுக்குள்ளேயா அப்படின்ற மாதிரி கேட்பாங்கல்ல. there are two different sides for I mean as it is like a coin மாதிரி தான், லைக் பார்க்குற உங்க விதம் அப்படின்னு ஒன்று இருக்குல்ல சார். And also this perspective also, if men are going for another marriage, like I've seen people like they have not questioned questioning them.
Yeah.
But when it comes to women, they easily judge her.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, it's my full support and sympathies.
hmm.
See, society la எத்தனையோ double standards இருக்குங்க.
Yes, yes.
Hey, before you get too carried away that, okay, I'm your champion, I'll even call people out that there are men also, they get the raw end of the stick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
மென்க்கு அகேன்ஸ்டா கூட நிறைய double standards
True,
இருக்குங்க.
true. இல்ல.
It's a friendly discussion. But you're right that it's more fewer questions asked. ஆம்பளைக்கு திருப்பி கல்யாணம் பண்ணி வைக்கணும்னா fewer questions asked. The hardest part is for women who are, say, mid-30s and older, or even in their 40s. ஒருவேளை divorced ஆயிருக்கலாம், ஒருவேளை widowed ஆயிருக்கலாம். Unfortunate reality is, earlier நான் சொன்னேன்லங்க, it's like a jungle out there. The wolves come out. So the wolves come out. And it's tough being a single woman in, say, in their 30s or in their 40s. Harder because men think that the women are available. Right? I'll speak in polite terms.
Yeah.
Idiots think that the women are available. That's a mindset. And it requires maybe acting with grace. And you shouldn't think about being kind to someone only by translating, சரி உங்க வீட்டில் உங்க அக்காவுக்கு எப்படி இருந்ததுன்னா உங்க அம்மாவுக்கு எப்படி இருந்ததுன்னா அப்போதான் சென்சிட்டிவா இருப்பீங்களா இல்லை கம்பேஷனட்டா இருப்பீங்களா இல்லை ஃபேரா இருப்பீங்களா இல்லாட்டி எக்ஸ்ப்ளாய்ட் பண்ண பார்ப்பீங்களா ஃபார் யுவர் ஓன் செல்ஃபிஷ் நீட்ஸ். See, everybody, office I tell my teammates, new hires, I remind people, be the best professional you can be the best version of yourself as you can be. எவ்வளோ ப்ரொஃபஷனலாக இருக்க முடியுமோ இருங்க, எவ்வளோ நல்ல மனுஷனா இருக்க முடியுமோ இருங்க. Look at how flawed சொல்ல முடியாது. Look at how complicated we human beings are. I said that things don't happen for a reason, right? But I like the concept of good karma. I like the concept of destiny because it can be a very powerful, motivating tool.
True.
I may not have faith in a higher power, but I love the concept of faith. Faith can move mountains. I believe in that. I don't believe in destiny, but I love the concept of destiny. You can see it as positive visualization. You can believe it as manifestation. If you just believe that this is my destiny, நான் இது சாதிக்க போறேன், நான் முன்னேறுவேன். That's a great motivating, it's a great concept that self-belief is important and these things help. Faith helps, destiny helps. I like to believe in good karma. You put good out there,
It comes back.
it comes back because if you're nice to somebody, they talk to another person that, hey, look, this guy treats others well. This guy does helpful things for others. Oh, இவங்களுக்கும் நல்லது பண்ணலாம். You can't imagine how many referrals come our way. Word of mouth. We hardly advertise. And people think 15 வருஷமா பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கீங்களா? ஆமாங்க. ஏன் முதல் வாட்டி கேட்கணும்? இப்போ தெரியுதுல்ல உங்களுக்கு, பேசலாமே. என்ன பண்ண சொல்றீங்க? பெட்டுக்கு எப்படி நான் போஸ்டர் போட்டனோ அது பண்ணமா? அவசியம் இல்லையே. எத்தனை பேர் வராங்க? More than we can keep up. But we're going back to how I believe in good karma. So I would encourage people to think if you treat someone poorly, karma is a bitch. வந்து கிடைக்கும். So and to the extent that we can be of support to men and women who are divorced. Second inning, who doesn't deserve happiness? I mean,
Well said.
Fundamental right எழுதி போடலாமே கான்ஸ்டிடியூஷன்ல. There are other useful things that are there, right? Right to livelihood, right to practice one's religion. It's such a fundamental thing, finding love. I'll keep this conversational, but Jodi 365, ellorum vaanga. But no, unfortunately, see, we are not cheap enough because our minimum fee is 50,000. People pay us in the lakhs of rupees. Retainer மட்டும் சர்வீஸ் ஃபீக்காக. தானா பண்ணோன்னா எத்தனையோ ஆப் இருக்குங்க. போயிட்டு அலையணும்னா அலையுங்க. இந்த மாதிரி ப்ரொஃபஷனலாக கிளாஸியாக தாட்ஃபுல்லாக டேக்ட்ஃபுல்லாக அந்த மாதிரி உதவி வேணும்னா that's what I've been focusing on. And it's so cute. இந்த நெட்ஃப்ளிக்ஸில் ஒரு ஷோ இருக்குங்களே, Indian matchmaking. So people understand it. And I like to think I'm not the cringy, I'm a non-cringy version. இப்போ grey hair இருக்கு இல்லைங்க, and experience இருக்கு, perspective இருக்கு, and Indian culture being what it is, people in their 20s and even early 30s have started calling me Anil uncle. கேட்கறதுக்கு ஸ்வீட்டா இருக்கு. Whereas I tell even the youngest associates, no Sir Ji, Madam Ji culture in the office. US practice பழகி போச்சுங்க. And at least you're saying
they'll call with your second name, I guess.
Mr. Kumar, Dr. Kumar. But I say, so look at even here's the another 360. சின்ன வயசுல டாக்டர் பட்டம் கிடைச்சதுன்னா நல்லா இருக்குமே. பட்டம்னா என்னையா? Because you can take somebody's name and even show disrespect. And you cannot rest on one's titles. You have to keep earning respect through what you do, how you conduct yourself. And it's not like I have all the answers, there's still so much for me to figure out. Yeah. And thank you for bringing out, because I would have loved to hear what the 50-plus-year-old me has to offer to somebody who's still in their 20s, still in their 30s. Yeah. Hey, I'm loving this. I hope you're seeing value in this.
முதுகு வலியா, மூட்டு வலியா, கை கால் நீட்ட மடக்க இயலாமையா, அறுவை சிகிச்சை இல்லா குணம். டாக்டர் ஸ்ரீ வர்மாஸ் PCR மகாராஜா தைலம்.
சம்மர் ஹாலிடேஸ் வந்தாச்சு, நம்ம ஜிடி ஹாலிடேஸும் வந்தாச்சு. ஜிடி ஹாலிடேஸ், சவுத் இந்தியாஸ் #1 டிராவல் பிராண்ட்.
ASAL Vibe and IFT Productions presents MAJAVA London with ASAL KOLAR, happening on April 26th. Tickets link in the description.